This next clip comes from a woman by the name of Morgan Lambert, who was visiting a farm tucked away in the Appalachian Mountains when her camera picked up something that'll make your skin crawl. The exact whereabouts of the property remain unclear, though Morgan has mentioned that the land belongs to her family, who have encountered more than a few paranormal incidents out there over the years. The footage begins with Morgan filming a light-hearted moment with her husband, who had joined her on the trip to check in on the family land. The two were there to assess any damage left behind by a recent bout of strong winds. But mid-walk, something brings her recording to an abrupt halt. According to Morgan, her own voice was somehow heard calling out to her husband from somewhere in the distance. And keep in mind, she was standing right beside him the entire time. See for yourself what the camera caught.
No, you gotta. We're on an adventure to check on the fence line to make sure no trees fell on it because we had like 50-mile-an-hour winds. We're gonna check it instead of my dad. Oh God, I'm freezing.
It's cold, isn't it?
Pretty. Oh God.
What?
I'm a spell.
What did you say just now?
I said, oh God. What? Sure.
Wait. What did you say just now?
I just said, oh God, because no, I really did. What are you talking about? What? What are you talking about?
We
I think
gotta go. We gotta go.
I think
We gotta go.
okay, hey, don't run. It's okay. We're good. We're good. I don't hear.
Go.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Are you messing with me right now?
Yeah, no, I don't really hear anything.
Between the wind noise in the background, it's difficult to pick out every word, but if you tune your ears in carefully, you can make out what sounds like hay and baby being called out. What makes the whole thing even stranger is that Morgan herself heard absolutely nothing. Judging by the footage, her husband appeared to be the only one who picked up on the voice at all.
Wait. What did you say just now?
I just said, oh God, because
The moment it reached him, he was visibly shaken. With nobody else anywhere on the property, the question lingers, who, or what, was out there in that remote stretch of Appalachian wilderness, calling out to him. Surveillance footage out of Guatemala captures something that's hard to explain away.
No mames.
A ghostly pale figure drifts through the frame as the dogs in the surrounding neighborhood erupt into a frenzy of terrified barking. The man who posted this clip mentioned that his father recalled hearing those very same anguished howls during his own childhood. For the people in these communities who record footage like this, there's nothing puzzling about it at all. They already know exactly what they're looking at. They call her La Llorona. La Llorona, known in English as the Weeping Woman, is one of the most deeply embedded legends across all of Latin America. Handed down from one generation to the next, the story has long served as a warning to keep children away from treacherous bodies of water. At its heart, the tale is always built on betrayal. A beautiful woman is left behind by her husband, consumed by grief and a blinding, uncontrollable rage. She carries her own children to the water's edge and drowns them. The moment she grasps what she has done, the full weight of her actions destroys her. She takes her own life. But the afterlife refuses to receive her. Instead, she is condemned to roam the earth in a state of eternal purgatory, haunting riverbanks and lake shores, in a never-ending search for the children she murdered. Her most recognizable feature is a gut-wrenching, hollow wail that pierces the night. Legend has it that if her cries sound distant, She is already standing right beside you, and if you ever come face to face with her, she will pull you beneath the water to fill the void left by one of her lost children. On June 15th, 2014, this mysterious clip was accidentally captured by a group of workers deep inside a mine. At the time, none of them had any clue that their camera was about to record something nobody could make sense of. Watch carefully and see what you think. As the workers are gathered together, the camera slowly sweeps from right to left, and that's the moment something out of the ordinary enters the frame. Just for an instant, a figure becomes visible standing right among them. A body dressed in an orange shirt, yet with no head in sight, only the torso is distinguishable. According to the person behind the camera, no such individual was actually there. Nobody on the worksite had been wearing an orange shirt that day, and not a single worker remembered seeing anyone matching that description during filming. The person who uploaded the video later noted that the mine had a dark history of fatal accidents over the years. With that context in mind, many viewers came to believe the figure could be the ghost of a former employee, momentarily caught on film. Others leaned toward a more rational take, proposing it might be a discarded shirt draped over some equipment, or a partial object sticking out of the ground. But when you look more closely, what seem to be legs are also faintly visible beneath the torso, which makes that theory a lot harder to hold on to. The clip leaves some deeply uncomfortable questions hanging in the air. Was this simply a trick of the eye, a misidentified object, or something far stranger? What do you believe the camera actually recorded that day? Let us know your thoughts. Security camera inside this young woman's bedroom captured what you're about to see. Caitlin was sound asleep at 3 in the morning when something suddenly jolts her awake out of nowhere. As Caitlin lies there sleeping, a shadow resembling a hand materializes and appears to grab hold of her. She stirs in response, but still half asleep, she doesn't seem to register anything unusual. You can actually watch the shadowy hand pull back, then reach down and lift the blanket off her body while she's still sleeping, eventually rousing her fully awake. Caitlin believes this was the spirit of her late husband reaching out to her from the other side, offering her comfort. He had once told her he would love her forever and beyond this life. So, does this footage show departed loved ones watching over the people they left behind? Or could something darker be lurking and preying on people during their most vulnerable moments? What you're about to see comes from a young man who filmed something deeply unsettling during the final hours of his grandfather's life footage that left his entire family shaken. While the elderly man lay sleeping, his home security camera picked up something nobody expected. Out of
¿Qué?
thin air, a mysterious white light appears and seems to drift toward the grandfather. Even more striking, the old man stirs from his sleep and appears to reach out in the direction of the light. And this is where the story takes a truly haunting turn. Just 3 hours after this footage was recorded, the grandfather you see here passed away. His wife had also died only 4 weeks earlier, and before she went, she made him a promise that when his time came, she would be the one to come for him. Her husband's grandson now believes that glowing light was his grandmother making good on that vow, arriving to guide her husband into whatever comes next. I'd love to know what you think. This next clip dates back to 2014 and was filmed by a woman during a stay at her grandmother's place. The only reason she started recording in the first place was because her grandmother's dog, Coco, began behaving in a very unusual way. The dog was locked onto something up near the ceiling, staring intently at a spot that nobody else could see. Unsettled by what she was witnessing, she pulled out her phone and hit record, and here's what the camera picked up.
Did that boy text you yet?
No, look. Coco can tell something's wrong.
Do you see that? Oh, the ribbon.
Coco.
Coco, what you doing down here? Oh. Bye, Coco.
Bye, Coco. What the f...
What?
She noticed that Coco's gaze was directed at some ribbons dangling from the ceiling fan, and one of those ribbons appears to be moving despite the window being completely closed. Shortly after, Coco suddenly retreats under the bed, seemingly desperate to escape from something, before bolting out of the room entirely. And within seconds of the dog fleeing, the bed they were sitting on starts shaking with real force. Their first instinct was that an earthquake might be responsible, but once they stood up, it became clear that only the bed itself was moving. Dogs and other animals are widely thought to perceive things that are beyond human senses, and whatever triggered Coco's reaction that night was clearly no ordinary disturbance. So what's your take on this? What do you think had Coco so frightened? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Take Time to Recall is a channel known for documenting everyday life, but tucked among those ordinary uploads is one clip that stands out for all the wrong reasons. While she was going about her household chores one afternoon, her security camera recorded something that's pretty hard to explain. She was running the vacuum across the carpet when, out of nowhere, one of the cords attached to a baby toy suddenly shifted on its own. The moment it moved, she stopped dead in her tracks, completely baffled by what she'd just witnessed. What makes it even stranger is that she was working on the far side of the room at the time, and the cord wasn't pinned under the carpet or tangled in anything. The whole thing left her with one burning question: is this freaking carpet haunted? And honestly, I'm not going to argue with her on that one. Our next clip was captured inside an aging restaurant currently undergoing renovation. The exact location has been withheld for both privacy and safety concerns, though the owners are said to be genuinely unsettled by the bizarre occurrences taking place there. Before the structure is torn down, they've allowed people to come in and witness things firsthand. For a while, Everything seems completely normal, that is, until the group makes their way toward the back of the building.
Oh, it's cold right here. The other way. Hello? I'm not going up there. Definitely not going back there. Oh wow, it is really cold right here. What was that? No. I don't think it's happy we're here. I don't know.
A peculiar shadow seems to peer out from around a corner, though the man holding the camera doesn't catch it immediately. Shortly after, the temperature in the room drops without warning, and he spots what looks like a small figure not far from where he's standing. Overcome with fear, Nguyen ducks out of sight, but the shadowy shape vanishes almost instantly. Rattled to his core, he makes his exit and cuts the footage short. It remains unclear whether the planned demolition is connected to the strange goings-on inside, but as of right now, nobody can say with any certainty what or who was lurking in that building. Yet, a new employee found herself alone during her very first shift inside a shop lined wall to wall with hanging swords, when something unexpected unfolded right before her eyes. Reviewing the security footage, you can clearly make out the cash register drawer flying open by itself, prompting the woman to instantly go still and fix her gaze on the counter. Not long after the clip made its rounds online, the comments section exploded with all kinds of reactions. A number of people joked that this would be just about the worst possible setting to encounter something paranormal, given that the last thing anyone would want is to watch those blades start rattling around in the dead of night. On the other hand, plenty of viewers agreed that the employee's composed response was honestly the most jaw-dropping part of the whole thing. Several commenters said that if that had been their welcome to a new job, they would have been out the door before the drawer even finished opening. What's your take on this one? To wrap things up, we have footage from a TikTok user who goes by Martip2009. According to him, he spent the last week listening to the sound of heavy footsteps moving through his house. Each time he goes to investigate, there's no one there, so this time he set his camera rolling downstairs and made his way up to face whatever might be lurking.
I'm going to record it because I've heard a couple of bangs now. The last one was quite violent and it came from upstairs and it sounded like a door being shut, and I know you don't believe me when I'm here. Oh, bathroom lights on. Oh, and our door was shut, look. So, yeah. What's that doing on and why? Alright. Oscar? Oscar? Are you in here? Is that you? Oscar? Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. Fuck off, man. Whoa, fuck you! What the fuck? Oscar? Whoa. Oh.
As he gets to the top of the staircase, he picks up some faint sounds, though nothing too alarming just yet. He then begins making his way through each bedroom one at a time. The moment he steps into the first room, the door slams shut right behind him. Keep in mind, he says there is absolutely no one else in that house. A woman from the Philippines says she managed to capture paranormal activity on video. She was making her way down a crowded street in Matanao when everything appeared completely ordinary until something ahead of her stopped her in her tracks. She noticed a man walking across a bridge, but he wasn't alone. There was something trailing right behind him. She could hardly trust what she was seeing, so she pulled out her phone and hit record. Look closely, and you'll notice a dark, shadowy figure moving in the man's wake. The man himself seems completely unaware that anything unusual is going on, and so does everyone else in the area. This convinced the woman that she had recorded something supernatural, something that apparently only she was able to perceive. Now, maybe her mind was playing tricks on her, but she posted the footage online, and her followers noticed it too. A large number of them believe she filmed the Grim Reaper itself, trailing the man for one chilling reason: his time was almost up. But what's your take? Do you think this is genuinely paranormal, like the woman and her viewers believe? Drop your thoughts below. On a YouTube channel known as All Rest Right, a man introduces himself as a regular stay-at-home father. 5 years back, shortly after his son was born, he set up a nursery camera to keep watch over the baby during the night. One morning, he receives a notification on his phone, and what he finds on the footage immediately fills him. With dread, the infant lies quietly in his crib, completely undisturbed. Then, without any obvious cause, a teddy bear begins to move. The motion doesn't resemble a simple tumble, it looks more as though something deliberately pulled it. Moments later, the crib itself appears to shift, ever so slightly. The baby stays asleep throughout, yet his father is left deeply unsettled by what he's watching. Then, on a separate night, a camera set up in his second son's bedroom records something that defies explanation. A peculiar light drifts across the room. A hazy, mist-like form materializes out of nowhere, glides past the lens, and then vanishes entirely. It bears no resemblance to an insect, and it only reinforces the growing suspicion that something isn't right inside this home. And it doesn't stop there. At 1:30 in the morning, the bedroom door slowly swings open by itself. The movement appears to rouse the child, who stirs and rolls over. The door continues opening all the way, with nobody visible on the other side. It then swings shut, only to creep open once more. At this point, dismissing what's happening becomes nearly impossible. This father keeps searching for a rational explanation, yet everything he uncovers seems to suggest that he may not be. He was alone in his garage late at night, and then things took a terrifying turn. This footage was uploaded to TikTok back in 2023 and spread like wildfire across the internet, captured by a security camera inside someone's garage in the middle of the night. The clip shows a man tidying up some chairs while his dogs keep him company. Nobody could have predicted what was about to unfold. Here's the moment it all went wrong.
Es que si era bien fea. Quiero salir para allá. Oye, si la atacó Max, si ves ahí está, la está atacando. Sí, se ve, mira. La está atacando.
Y ese rizo para atrás.
Out of nowhere, a dark, shadowy figure appeared gliding behind a parked car. It then began to stretch and contort, growing bigger until it took on the shape of a four-legged animal. Seconds later, it contracted back down and tucked itself behind the vehicle. The man spotted the creature, but couldn't bring himself to get any closer to it. He rushed back inside the house to grab something he could use to protect himself. While he was gone, the entity shifted its form entirely, morphing into something that looked disturbingly human before vanishing without a trace. When the man returned with his wife, there was nothing there, not a single sign of it. He's adamant that the metal garage door had been shut tight the entire time. He describes the creature as deeply unsettling and unlike anything he'd ever seen, with absolutely no explanation for what it was or how it ended up inside. So what do you think was actually lurking in that garage? The account Mimi Glover is run by a mother who recently posted a video that ended up frightening a huge number of people across the internet. In the footage recorded by her home security system, her kids can be seen relaxed and watching TV during what appeared to be a completely ordinary moment in their daily lives. Then, without warning, that calm atmosphere is shattered by something that, according to the children themselves, completely destroyed their ability to sleep that night.
Yeah. Had to account. Oh. You missed it all the way back. Same song. Oh. And
without any apparent cause, the siblings suddenly break into a panic after spotting the closet door slowly swinging open all by itself. The kids don't hesitate for a second, terrified. They bolt into the living room to tell their mum what they'd just witnessed. Not entirely convinced by their story at first, she decides to pull up the security camera footage and see for herself. The moment she watches it back, she's left absolutely stunned. The clip spread rapidly online, racking up close to 2 million views, and shortly after, Mimi posted a follow-up video laying out exactly why she doesn't think this could have been a coincidence. In her words, there's virtually no way that door could have swung open on its own by chance, since it actually takes a considerable amount of force just to get it to move. She also says that she, her husband, and their kids have already experienced several other strange, unexplained things within the house, which is why she's genuinely convinced that what the camera captured may have been something beyond the natural world. So what's your take? Do you think something unseen was responsible for opening that door? Or is there a perfectly rational explanation the family just hasn't figured out yet? A young woman by the name of Tina recalls that during a vacation in Mexico, she snapped a photo of her 3 friends using a disposable camera. Once the film was developed, she was stunned to find an unexplained extra figure lurking in the background. Initially, a lot of people who came across Tina's photo dismissed the dark shape behind the girls as nothing more than a shadow cast by one of them, or perhaps Tina's own reflection in the shot. But then someone decided to enhance the brightness of the image, and what they found stopped everyone cold. The additional figure appears to have a horrifying, almost ghoulish face staring back at the camera. It bears no resemblance to a shadow, and writing it off as Tina's reflection simply doesn't hold up either. So the question remains, who or what is standing there? That's for you to decide. A TikTok user going by the name AngusFY1 kicks things off, and what makes his submission particularly compelling is that his page has absolutely nothing to do with the paranormal. Scroll through his profile and you'll find gaming videos and casual clips of his dog. That's pretty much it. So when he posted something entirely out of the ordinary on April 16th, 2026, people took notice. What he'd filmed was a pair of double doors inside his house, behaving in a way he couldn't explain. Baffled by what kept happening, he enlisted his dad to help document it and figure out whether those doors were genuinely opening on their own.
Look, if that's fully shot. Now, right, now let's just sit and wait. He's just lurking. Oh, off! Right off! Yo, what?
His father pushes the double doors firmly shut, making certain they're completely closed. Then, to eliminate any possibility of wind or a stray draft being responsible, he places a lightweight plastic bag right on the floor in front of the doorway. Any meaningful airflow in that space would have sent that bag drifting immediately. It doesn't budge, it just sits there. And then, seconds later, the heavy door unlatches and swings wide open, no hands, no visible person, no obvious force coming from the other side. On its own, that's already unsettling enough. But once the footage gets enhanced, things take a much darker turn. As the door swings open, direct your attention deep into the pitch-black hallway behind it. At the far end, completely still and barely visible in the shadows, there appears to be the silhouette of a dark figure just standing there, staring back. So was this nothing more than a faulty latch, a shift in air pressure, or a weird visual glitch? Or did Angus unknowingly record a genuine shadow figure lurking inside his own home? As always, that call is yours to make. In June 2025, a TikTok creator going by Saritao86 posted a clip that rapidly disturbed tens of thousands of people who came across it. The on-screen text is vague yet deeply unsettling, hinting that viewers have been shaken to their core by what the footage contains, and that she herself can no longer bring herself to remain inside the property. The context she provides is short but troubling. A realtor had hired her to clean the house following yet another abrupt tenant departure. She says the realtor acknowledged this was a recurring pattern, renters walking away from their leases without warning, though no explanation was ever offered for why. She probably had no idea she was about to find out firsthand.
La casa se ha limpiado muchísimas veces porque rompe el contrato a la gente. Ay, no mames.
Early on in the footage, a dark door swings wide open with no one near it. On its own, that might be chalked up to a draft or worn-out hinges, but everything that comes after makes that explanation feel increasingly thin.
De plano no aguantan a vivir aquí. Y ahorita les voy a enseñar lo demás para allá. Déjenme prender la luz. Entonces, el Señor dice que ya van varias familias. Entonces, el Señor.
As she makes her way carefully through the property, strange noises begin filtering through the rooms. Footsteps, knocking, something it's difficult to pin down exactly, but whatever it is has no obvious origin, and the tension in the space grows heavier with every passing second. Then arrives the moment that has truly gotten under people's skin.
Tengo que ir a apagar la luz de allá porque se está poniendo ya. Ay, no.
At roughly the 3:35 mark, a dark silhouette, something many viewers are describing as a shadow person, appears to be peering out from behind a door frame. It's easy to miss at first glance, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. About 20 seconds after that, another door swings open completely on its own. The sheer volume of strange events packed into a single recording is what sets this one apart. Rather than banking on one dramatic moment, the video constructs a creeping sense of dread through layer after layer of unexplained detail. Like any paranormal clip that goes viral, skeptics have shown up in force. Some suggest the object movements could be engineered with fishing line or well-placed air currents. The shadow figure, though, is where the debate really heats up. Could it be a VFX trick? It's possible, but plenty of people counter that the way light and shadow interact throughout the scene feels too natural to be manufactured. If it is staged, whoever did it put in serious effort to keep it subtle. Hoax or not, the full picture tenants repeatedly fleeing the property, the ominous warning written across the screen, and the oppressive atmosphere the camera manages to capture lends the whole thing a weight that's genuinely difficult to dismiss. For now, all we can do is wait and hope Saritao86 shares more. In the meantime, whatever is going on inside that house continues to live rent-free in the minds of everyone who's watched it. The structure had sat vacant long enough for the surrounding wilderness to start creeping back in through the walls. Brian headed inside regardless, camera already rolling, searching for whatever had earned this place its dark reputation. The corridors were deserted, every room completely bare, and then something cut across the hallway in front of him, so fast his brain couldn't even begin to register what it was.
Uy. ¡Hueputa! 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 Oscar, 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 Oscar. ¿Qué pasó? Marica, había un niño, huevón. ¡Hueputa, hueputa, 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 hueputa!
When he sat down to review the recording afterward, he could make it out clearly small, quick, with the outline of a child, there and gone within a single second. He walked back to the precise location where it had appeared and found nothing, no doorway it could have slipped through, no corner it could have ducked behind, just the silhouette of a child-sized figure passing through a building that had absolutely no reason to have any living soul inside it. Brian walked out without a single answer. His words when he left were, a YouTuber going by the name Michael Damage has documented a series of deeply unsettling events that keep taking place within his home. He claims these disturbances are rooted in paranormal activity that defies any rational explanation, things like objects shifting on their own and unexplained sounds emerging from nowhere in particular. These bizarre occurrences reportedly take place on a regular basis throughout the property. Some of his recordings have also allegedly captured shadowy shapes thought to be supernatural beings. Pay close attention to what his camera picked up.
Hello? No, you're in there. You may as well show yourself. It's getting old. all you've got then? You do anything else for me? Anything at all?
Throughout various segments of the footage, dark silhouettes appear with striking clarity inside the house, at times seeming as though they are observing or even directly interfering with Michael himself. The fact that these figures keep showing up has made the environment inside the home feel progressively more chilling, and Michael's fear comes through clearly on camera. He has stated that numerous other incidents have occurred that he has yet to release to the public, and the strange disturbances show no signs of letting up. As a result, his channel continues to draw in a growing audience of viewers eager to learn more about the eerie happenings surrounding his life. The following video was recorded inside a brightly lit retail store, the kind of ordinary place where the most exciting thing usually captured on security footage is someone dropping a shopping basket or knocking an item off a shelf. The store appears completely normal, with fluorescent lights illuminating every aisle, merchandise neatly arranged, and a security camera mounted high on the wall, quietly recording the sales floor. At the moment this footage was captured, there wasn't a single customer visible, no employees walking through the frame, and no obvious source for what was about to appear. Watch. A dark, semi-transparent mass, vaguely upright, vaguely human in shape, materializes, and then simply dissolves into nothing by the time it reaches the edge of the frame. You can even hear the moment it registers with the people watching the monitor. A man's voice cutting through the ambient noise in what sounds like Bulgarian, roughly translating to, "Whoa, what is that, man?" Pure shock, completely unrehearsed. Some believe shadow figures like this one are drawn to places with heavy foot traffic, absorbing residual energy from the people who pass through daily. Others think the bright fluorescent lighting actually makes this harder to dismiss as a trick of the light. So what exactly was gliding through that store? In this next clip, two men are on a video call late at night. The man on the left in a room lit with red and blue ambient lighting, the man on the right sitting in a normally lit space, both of them deep in casual conversation about heritage and family. Neither one seems to notice anything off, but in the background behind the man on the left, sitting on a shelf illuminated by a red LED strip, there's a doll, a small figure in a dark hooded sweatshirt, propped upright, completely still. Watch.
Y'all have Irish and Indian?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. She's saying braids or what?
Oh, she probably meant to put braids or dreads. Tasha's Native American? Well, I'm Hispanic. I'm from here. Is he paused?
Yeah.
While both men are mid-conversation, the doll moves, and the whole thing lasts barely a second. Neither man reacts, because neither man sees it. What makes this harder to explain is the angle. You'd need something hidden directly beneath that shelf to produce that kind of isolated movement, and nothing visible in the frame suggests that's possible. Some viewers immediately pointed to the idea of a haunted or attached object, a concept that appears across dozens of cultural traditions, where a spirit is said to anchor itself to a physical item rather than a place. Others think it's a trick of the recording. You decide. The following video was recorded by a woman who had been going through her daughter's toy camera, a small, purple thing, the kind given to young kids as a first camera, almost forgotten in a drawer, when she came across a photograph that made her stop completely. Her daughter, who was 9 at the time, had a friend over, and the two girls had been taking silly photos with it, selfies, pictures of the dog, the usual. She decided to scroll through to get a laugh. That changed everything. Watch.
God damn. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
The photograph on that tiny screen shows a tall, dark, entirely humanoid figure standing next to a reddish-brown cabinet in her kitchen. It's almost a complete silhouette. No clear features, no defined limbs, just a solid black shape that reaches well above the cabinet. In the days that followed, she sat down and recorded a longer explanation, because the more she thought about it, the less sense it made. Watch closely.
Okay, so a little explanation on that video that I just uploaded of the photo. So my daughter had a friend over yesterday, and they found a little camera, little, like it's like this big, that was given to her for Christmas a couple years ago. Not by us, by like a family member, and she got it when she was like 5, so it's been in their house for a long time. She doesn't really use it. She plays around with it sometimes. Anyway, so they found it, and they were just taking photos, and so I decided to look at the photos today to laugh, to see like what silly photos 9-year-olds take of themselves, you know. And I'm scrolling through, and there's like cute selfies, like them playing outside, and picture the dog, and then there's that photo. And I go back and forth between that photo and the other photos. There's no like other photos of the kitchen or anything like that. It's literally just, there's only that one photo from our kitchen. Yeah. So I'm gonna upload that photo tonight onto my computer to take a look at what that photo could possibly be, because it really makes no sense. My daughter's at school right now, so I haven't asked her what it could be. Who knows, it could be them playing around, but it looks tall for them. It's short for me. If you compare it in the doorway, it looks like it could be about 5 foot something, but who knows, I'm terrible. I don't really know. I'm just pulling a number out of my ass. So yeah, fun times. Oh, and I wanted to say the date at the bottom. The date in the camera is incorrect. So I don't know why it says like 2019, but it was taken. Those photos were taken yesterday, unless it's 2019. But they were taken yesterday.
The picture.
Yesterday, so I'm scrolling, you know, and I'm like, what is that? What the is that? Like, what is that? That's right here. Excuse how like messy that is, but what is that?
She walks through everything. The girls were 9, so it couldn't have been them. And the figure looks too short to be a normal adult in that specific doorway, somewhere around 5 feet tall by her estimate. There are no other photos of the kitchen taken that day, just that one. And then she does something that really lands hard. She holds the toy camera up in the actual spot where the photo was taken, comparing the image on the screen to the real empty room in front of her, and the red cabinet is right there, exactly where it is in the photo. But whatever was standing beside it is gone. Some viewers think it could be a shadow person, a term used in paranormal communities to describe dark, featureless humanoid shapes that appear without explanation and seem to observe without interacting. Others are more skeptical, pointing to pareidolia or the low resolution of a child's camera creating shapes where none exist. But the detail that's hardest to explain away is that there are no other kitchen photos, no accidental shots, no blurry test frames, just one image, and something standing in it that shouldn't be there. So what was standing in that kitchen while 2 9-year-old girls played nearby? And why is there only one photo to show for it? Now, in this next clip, a Ring security camera mounted outside a home captures something that the person who shared it is convinced is paranormal, although whether viewers agree seems to depend entirely on what they think they see moving through the darkness. The footage is recorded in night vision, giving everything that familiar black and white appearance. A white minivan sits parked in the driveway, trash bins are lined up near the edge of the property, and a cinder block wall runs along one side of the frame, separating the home from the area beyond. At first glance, nothing appears unusual. The scene is quiet, still, and completely empty. Then the person who posted the video directs viewers' attention toward the far side of the wall. Watch.
Watch closely. You'll see a figure on the other side of the wall, and it disappears as it walks away.
A figure can be seen walking beyond the wall, moving steadily through the darkness before seemingly disappearing from sight. According to the homeowner, this is where things become difficult to explain, because they claim the property sits very close to a cemetery, a detail that immediately fueled paranormal speculation in the comments. Many viewers believe the figure is simply a person walking along a path or roadway hidden from the camera's view, briefly visible before moving beyond the field of vision. But the connection to the nearby cemetery is what pushed the discussion in a more supernatural direction. For centuries, graveyards have occupied a unique place in folklore, often associated with reports of wandering apparitions, spirits following familiar routes, or what some traditions describe as residual hauntings, moments or movements that appear to replay themselves long after the people involved are gone. In many cultures, it was believed that spirits did not always remain within burial grounds, but occasionally wandered surrounding roads, paths, and neighboring properties, particularly during the night. Of course, being near a cemetery doesn't automatically make every shadow paranormal, but it does add an extra layer of mystery when a figure appears where no one expects it, and then seems to vanish before anyone can determine exactly what they're looking at. Now, in this next clip, a man is alone in a dark room, the only light coming from the screen of his own phone, when something begins making itself known from inside the furniture directly in front of him. He doesn't know what's causing it. Watch.
Están golpeando el mueble.
The knocking is loud, rhythmic, and deliberate, striking the wooden console in a steady pattern. But the most terrifying thing is the eye he saw. There's no way someone could fit into the back of the furniture, so help him make sense of this. In folklore, across different cultures, wooden furniture in particular has been associated with the idea of memory holding, the belief that natural materials like wood can absorb emotional or spiritual residue over time, especially if the object has been present during repeated human experiences, conflict, or trauma. Until more updates are shared, this remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, a man armed with nothing but a camera light enters what appears to be a service corridor or storage area somewhere deep inside a commercial building at night. A claustrophobic space filled with mannequins, boxes, and metal racks. The kind of place that already feels wrong before anything happens. Before the footage even begins, he leaves a note for viewers, saying he was hurt during this encounter, and that whatever is in this room is not the same entity he's dealt with before. That detail alone changes how you watch everything that follows. He moves down a long, narrow hallway, metallic sounds already banging rhythmically around him, and before he pushes open a dark storage room door, you can hear him whisper, "Please, protect me, God." That's not the kind of thing you say for the camera. Watch.
I was hurt during this encounter. This is not the same entity. It's not her.
Hello? Hello? Who's there? Hello?
Beneath the chaos, faint but unmistakable, you can hear the sound of a woman crying, soft, sorrowful, heartbreaking, and it continues through several of the crashes, as though something in that room is grieving, while another thing is tearing the place apart. A deep, guttural, distorted voice begins to speak, and then the camera is jolted violently, the audio descending into a scuffle of grunts and clattering before the footage cuts off with the lens pointing at the floor. Some viewers believe what he encountered was two separate presences, one sorrowful, the entity he described as her, and one aggressive, something far more volatile that he specifically warned wasn't the same. In demonology, that kind of split is sometimes referred to as an oppressor and a residual, one presence attached to grief, one attached to violence, occupying the same space. Others watching the footage focus on the escalating pattern of events. Skeptics argue the tight, cluttered space could explain shifting objects, but the crying voice and the distorted growl aren't things you typically explain away. Now, in this next video, a man is alone in his bedroom at night when a series of loud, heavy bangs begin echoing through the room, and the source of those sounds is something he can't immediately explain. He's just standing by his wardrobe, calm, unhurried, pulling out a shirt, and getting dressed like it's any other night, even as the thumping continues around him. That calmness is either reassuring or deeply unsettling, depending on how you look at it. The banging comes in bursts, rapid at first, then slower, more deliberate, the kind of heavy thuds that feel less like a pipe rattling and more like something with weight and intention. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stops. He finishes dressing, picks up the camera, and walks toward the bed. Watch. He lifts the mattress and the fitted sheet to reveal the floor underneath, wooden slats, dark carpet, and nothing else. No one hiding, no animal, just an empty space, and a small deflated balloon sitting near the wall. That's it. And yet those bangs were loud, rhythmic, and close, the kind of sounds that vibrate through a room rather than filter in from somewhere far away. And if there's one detail that keeps pulling people back to this clip, it's that small deflated balloon sitting alone in the head of a doll on his bed. So what exactly was making that noise? I'll let you be the judge. The following video was captured by a man who had already grown used to being woken up in the middle of the night by things he couldn't explain, to the point where it had become a routine, something he no longer questioned immediately, but instead documented, almost as if he knew that whatever was happening would eventually show itself on camera. Before this night, he had been dealing with faint knocks at odd hours, objects shifting slightly out of place, and moments where he would wake up feeling like someone had just been standing over him, watching, only for the room to be completely empty when he fully opened his eyes. Over time, it became harder to ignore, especially when he started hearing low sounds at night, scratching, dragging, and at times something that almost resembled breathing, close enough to feel real, but never visible long enough to confirm. So when it happened again that night, when a loud sound suddenly pulled him out of sleep, he reached for his phone, hoping to finally catch something clear enough to explain it all. What he captured instead only made things worse. Watch. The door creaks open first, slow and deliberate, with no one near it. Then a small black creature lunges onto the bed directly at him, letting out a shriek that doesn't sound like anything domestic, followed by a deep growl. Many would immediately label something like this as a demonic presence, and in many reported cases, it's said that when something like this begins to feel comfortable within a space, when it's no longer hiding or limiting itself to small signs, it can escalate even further, sometimes attempting to influence or even possess the person living there. In this next clip, a man in Chihuahua, Mexico, had been running a studio space he'd been using for work. A cluttered, horror-decorated room filled with vintage masks, a porcelain doll, and a large, ornate mirror. He'd already lost a week's worth of security footage because the cloud trial on his camera system expired before he could save anything locally. Then, on a Tuesday night, while he was away recovering from an eye injury, his security camera triggered a movement alert at 9:10 p.m. He ignored it at first. It wasn't until Thursday that he finally came back to check, and that's when things got harder to dismiss. Watch. The security camera, the kind set to tracking mode, begins panning slowly across the empty room on its own, as if following something invisible. Then, a door that was slightly ajar in the background swings fully shut with deliberate, unhurried force. The doll by your right also moved without anyone in sight touching it. When the man arrives with his handheld camera that same night, he walks to a corner of the floor near the desk, a floor he says he'd left spotless, and points the light downward. Have a look.
Fijé un poco. Yo había dejado limpio. Y hay unas huellas ahí. Esos días hizo bastante frío, hizo mucho frío. Bueno, para que alguien anduviera descalzo, lo dudo mucho. Para la gente de aquí de Chihuahua sabe que no se puede andar uno descalzo en la calle. Y luego miren, yo calzo del 9. Ese pie es enorme, está muy 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 grande. No es mi pie. O sea, la verdad sí está muy muy grande el pie. Y le digo, oí pasos.
A large, dirty, barefoot print on the floor. He holds his own shoe next to it for comparison. He wears a size 9, and the print is noticeably bigger, both in length and width. There was no sign of forced entry, so from that point on, the debate around what's causing all of this only intensified. Some people are convinced the activity is tied to a large mirror he brought into the studio. According to him, the strange occurrences began almost immediately after the mirror arrived. In paranormal belief, mirrors are often considered portals, reflective surfaces believed to thin the boundary between spaces. Many cultures warn that mirrors can act as gateways, allowing entities to observe, attach, or even pass through. If that's the case here, it could explain the sense of being watched, the movement being tracked, and the idea that something is present without fully manifesting. But others believe the mirror isn't the source, it's the doll. Dolls act as vessels, not necessarily haunted at first, but capable of housing or attracting a presence over time. The fact that the doll moves during the footage and that disturbances seem more physical, doors slamming, objects shifting, leads many to think the doll is what's anchoring whatever is inside that studio. And then there are those who think it isn't one or the other, but both. Some believe the mirror may have opened the door, and the doll became the place where whatever came through decided to stay. Until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. Now in this next clip, a couple decides to do something many people would strongly advise against. Sitting together in a darkened room, candles flickering around them as they place their hands on a Ouija board and ask whatever might be listening to make itself known. Watch. Before this moment, they had already experienced strange activity in their old apartment, which was located right next to a hospital, a detail that, for many people, immediately raises questions, because places like that are often associated with intense emotional energy, loss, and unresolved moments that some believe can linger. They reported hearing unexplained sounds, feeling watched, and noticing subtle disturbances they couldn't explain, which led them to wonder if something might have attached itself to them. So when they moved into their new place, instead of leaving it behind, they made a decision that would change everything, using the Ouija board to find out if whatever they had experienced before had followed them into this new home. Watch.
Anybody there? Is anybody there? Can you give us a sign? Can you give us a sign? Oh my god. There's no way. There's no way. Dude, there's nobody in here. There's nobody in here. What is going on? Oh.
Some viewers believe this confirms their fear that something from their old apartment may have stayed with them. something that didn't leave when they moved, but others argue something far more unsettling, that it wasn't about something following them at all, but about what they may have invited in at that exact moment by choosing to use the board. And that's where the situation takes a more serious turn. Because people familiar with how these sessions are traditionally handled were quick to point out a critical mistake, something that might seem small but carries heavy implications in paranormal belief. The fact that they removed their hands from the planchette without properly closing the session or saying goodbye. According to those beliefs, that final step isn't optional. It's meant to close whatever line of communication has been opened. By skipping it, many believe they didn't just stop the session, they left it unfinished, leaving what some describe as an open doorway, something that doesn't simply close on its own. On another day, they decided to do it again.
Is anybody there? Is anybody there? No.
Jacob, we have to get out. We have to get out.
Moments like this are often used as examples when people talk about the risks tied to using a Ouija board, not because of what is guaranteed to happen, but because of what can happen when boundaries aren't understood or respected. The idea isn't just that something might respond, but that once that line is opened, it may not always be clear what exactly is responding, or whether it intends to leave when you're done. And that's the part many people overlook, because it's not always about whether something followed them from before. Sometimes it's about what they may have invited in, without fully understanding how to send it back. This next video was recorded by a man who has been documenting what he describes as an increasingly aggressive haunting inside his home. And by the time this footage begins, he's already terrified before he even reaches the bottom of the stairs. It started with smaller disturbances, noises in the night, his dog refusing to behave normally downstairs, a growing sense that whatever was in the house was no longer passive. He blames the spirits for recent bad luck in his life, including a car accident, and on this particular night, he grabs his phone and heads downstairs because something has set his dog off again. Watch.
Nouvelle vidéo, on entend du bruit, mon chien s'est énervé d'un coup. Devient catastrophique. Les esprits deviennent agressifs. Oui, j'arrive, ma fille. Et le pire, c'est qu'ils me portent la poisse. Là, il y a 2 jours, les gendarmes m'ont rentré dans la voiture. Elle était devant chez moi, mais la voiture est épave. Beaucoup de chance. Beaucoup de chance. Et l'excuse, c'est le keuf avait une poussière dans l'œil. Vous y croyez, vous? Ben, moi, malheureusement. Oh putain, c'est quoi ce bordel encore, putain. Ça ne fait que ça, c'est incroyable. On essaie de trouver des solutions, mais il n'y a rien qui marche. Cherche, mon chien, cherche. Il y a quelque chose? Oh putain. Ça devient bizarre. What the... Oh putain, ça m'a piqué. Ah. Putain, c'est quoi ça? Mais c'est quoi ce délire? C'est quoi ce délire, putain de merde? Oh là là. Putain, c'est quoi ce délire? Putain de merde. Ça devient n'importe quoi ce baraque. Si vous avez des idées, des conseils. Ah, des idées, des conseils, je suis preneur. Honnêtement, ça... Oh putain, c'était quoi ça? Oh fuck off. Oh sa mère. C'était quoi ça, putain? C'était quoi cette merde? Fille. Ah, putain. Ah, fille, qu'est-ce qui t'arrive? Non. Non. Mais non. C'est quoi ce délire? C'est quoi ce délire, putain de ça? C'est quoi ce voix de sa mère, putain? Sa mère.
He claims to feel fingers pressing along his spine, then shouts out in pain as the camera lurches violently, as if something struck him. Then it got worse. The television switches on by itself, blasting loud, dramatic music into the dark room, and his dog stands near the glass door, with her tail tucked, too frightened to move. He uses the remote to shut it off, but within minutes, it turns back on, this time changing channels and raising its own volume, while the remote sits on the floor in front of it. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, a term used to describe a type of disturbance associated with physical force and object manipulation rather than a simple haunting. But the man's response to all of this is what makes the second clip even more unsettling, because rather than leave, he keeps confronting it. Watch.
Prochaine vidéo, j'ai décidé de me battre contre cette chose malveillante.
Horrible. Ça fait un moment que j'ai pas fait de vidéo, mais là ça empire. De jour en jour. Des marques, des griffes. C'est insupportable. Putain. Ah, c'est toi qui me fais peur. Alors, il y a quelqu'un? Putain, c'est insupportable. Putain. Putain, c'est quoi cette merde encore? Non, mais c'est pas possible.
He descends the same staircase again, speaking in a tense, hushed voice, saying things are getting worse day by day. Marks, scratches, unbearable. His dog startles him in the dark. Then a loud bang erupts from somewhere off camera. The camera whips sideways, and from inside a closed toy chest, a child's musical melody begins playing on its own. He opens the lid. The music cuts off the moment he slams it shut. For some viewers, a toy activating inside a sealed chest with no one near it lands differently than anything electronic. It feels deliberate, like something announcing itself. And if that's true, the question isn't whether it's still down there, it's whether it ever planned to stop. Now in this next clip, a man is riding his motorcycle alone down a dark, isolated road at night, heading to a wedding, when something on the roadside stops him cold. At that hour, there's usually nothing to see except the road ahead, so when something appears in the distance, it immediately stands out. Watch.
Fuck, man. Oh, fuck, basket! Oh, shit! Oh, shit, man! Oh, shit, man! Oh!
As his headlight stretches forward, it catches the outline of a figure walking along the road, tall, pale, and unnaturally still in the way it carries itself, not reacting to the approaching motorcycle, not stepping aside, just continuing forward, like it doesn't even acknowledge him being there. And that's where it starts to feel wrong. Some viewers believe what he encountered could have been a ghost, the kind often described in roadside sightings, figures that appear briefly, usually at night, sometimes tied to past accidents or tragedies. known to show up without warning and disappear just as quickly, leaving the person who saw them questioning what they just experienced. So if you were riding down that same road, alone, and that figure appeared in your headlights, would you slow down and try to understand what you're looking at? Or would you keep going and not look back? Now, in this next video, a man claims that every single night when he returns to his home, something is already there waiting for him, and he decides to prove it. The building itself looks abandoned in stretches, a barrack-style structure at the end of a dark gravel path, lit only by a single street lamp overhead. One night, he hears footsteps like someone running around the house. Shortly after, this happens.
I don't know what that was, so I'm gonna set my camera here. I can watch down the hallway.
Some viewers believe this kind of activity points directly to a poltergeist, but until more updates are shared, this remains unsolved. The following video was recorded by paranormal investigator Frank, the creator behind Franco TV, a channel widely known for his solo overnight explorations of abandoned locations most people refuse to enter, places with violent histories, forgotten tragedies, and reports so disturbing that even experienced investigators often avoid returning alone. Yet Frank has built his reputation on confronting these places directly, documenting whatever might still be lingering in the darkness. This time, he returns to a monastery he had investigated once before, a place long surrounded by unsettling rumors, where locals claim former monks practiced rituals that went far beyond prayer, and where some believe certain areas were permanently sealed off after unexplained incidents involving members of the clergy who reportedly began hearing voices, seeing figures, and behaving in ways no one could explain. And ever since its abandonment, people who pass near the structure at night have reported the overwhelming feeling of being watched, as if something inside never truly left. Just seconds after arriving, Frank immediately captures something deeply unsettling. Watch.
This is where I was seeing things coming out of here. I just got a sound. That's where my car is. Oh. I just heard something over here. I feel so vulnerable right now. Oh God, it is so cold. Next time I come out here again, I'm gonna have to layer up.
In the darkness, what appears to be a pair of eyes reflects, like something was watching him. And even when he went into the monastery to escape whoever or whatever was watching him, something else happened.
What the hell is that? Oh my God. It's like right there. It's coming from inside here. For sure, it's definitely coming in here. Hola? I have to ask. What if there's somebody in here? The chair's still there in the middle.
Heavy bangs like footsteps carrying weight, the kind of sound that suggests something solid, something physical, moving somewhere, just out of sight. And as Frank searches the area, expecting to find a person, an animal, or at least some logical explanation, he finds nothing. Some believe this could be residual energy, the kind said to replay past movements in places where intense emotional or spiritual events occurred repeatedly over time, while others believe this is something far more aware, something intelligent, something that recognized his presence the moment he arrived and chose not to remain hidden. Because in locations like this, investigators often say the most terrifying moments aren't when you see something clearly. It's when you hear something that should not be there and realize it knows exactly where you are. This next video was recorded during a paranormal investigation in a small town in Jalisco, Mexico, at an old hacienda currently undergoing renovation, a property that, according to locals, carries a history far darker than its crumbling walls suggest, with rumors stretching back generations about buried money hidden somewhere on the land, valuables supposedly concealed during times of conflict, and even more disturbing claims that human remains were discovered on the property years ago, though no one seems to agree on how they got there or who they belonged to. One local resident who grew up near the hacienda described experiences that still unsettle him to this day, especially involving the main staircase, where he would hear slow, deliberate footsteps climbing upward, step by step, as if someone was making their way to the second floor, only for the sound to suddenly stop midway, leaving nothing there when he went to check. No person, no animal, just silence, and a heavy feeling that he was no longer alone. When the investigators arrived, they carefully explored the property, documenting each room, each hallway, each corner where something might be hiding. But for hours, nothing significant happened, and despite the oppressive atmosphere and the constant sense of being watched, there was no clear evidence of movement or presence. And eventually, believing the night would end without incident, they began preparing to leave. But just as they were about to go, something changed. Watch.
Una que está aquí y que es la que se ha manifestado. Esta oración fue para ti y para todas las demás entidades que se encuentran aquí. Yo creo que es momento de retirarnos porque... ¡Ay, no mames, no mames, no mames! ¡Ven! ¡Ay, güey! ¡No mames, yo vi algo! ¡Vamos, ven! ¡Ven, ven, ven! Algo se asomó aquí. ¡Ven, por favor, algo! ¡Córrele, córrele, córrele! ¡Ay! ¡Ay! ¡No mames! ¿Qué hay aquí? ¡Córrele, Meli, ven! ¡Ay, no mames! Es que yo aquí vi que se asomó algo, te lo juro. ¡Ay, quién anda aquí! ¿Quién anda aquí? Yo ya no sé. De verdad. No, no hay nada. Ay. No, vámonos ya. Vámonos con cuidado. Es momento de irnos. Es momento de irnos con cuidado. Ay, no. Yo ya quiero salir de aquí, vámonos. Ya no podemos quedarnos más, de verdad, es momento de irnos. Qué terrible lugar, un lugar lleno de energía, una energía muy fuerte la que está aquí encerrada y lamentablemente no podemos hacer nada. Ya hicimos una oración, vamos saliendo. Ya hicimos una oración, pero no hay nada más por hacer, porque yo vengo sin un experto.
From behind the truck, something briefly peeks out, a shape that appears and disappears too quickly to fully identify, followed by something even more disturbing, a faint voice, weak, strained, and emotional, sounding almost like someone crying out for help. Some believe this could be the spirit of someone connected to the remains found on the property, possibly someone who died there and was never properly laid to rest, their presence lingering, unable to move on, trapped between worlds and trying to be heard, while others believe the rumors of buried money may be connected, that if something valuable was hidden there long ago, it may have been guarded, and whoever was responsible may never have truly left. There are also those who believe something darker may exist in places like this, not a trapped soul, but something that imitates distress, something that calls out in human voices to lure the living closer, feeding on curiosity and fear. But until more evidence surfaces, what was hiding behind that truck, and who or what cried out into the darkness, remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, a man named Samuel, who works at ESTE Villahermosa Hospital, captured a disturbing incident after months of staff, quietly complaining that strange and unexplainable things had been happening throughout the building. Hospitals, especially those that operate overnight, are often at the center of paranormal claims, not necessarily because of the building itself, but because of what they represent. According to Samuel, co-workers had reported hearing footsteps in empty corridors, equipment shifting when no one was present, and doors opening slightly on their own during the early hours of the morning, especially between 3 and 4 a.m., a time many refer to as the dead hour, when activity is believed to be at its peak. One night around 3:30 a.m., while working his shift, Samuel heard noises coming from the sample collection area. At first, he assumed it might be another staff member finishing late work, but when the sounds continued, he decided to investigate and record. Watch.
Compañeros, hago este video porque estaba escuchando ruidos aquí atrás. Son las 3:25 de la mañana. No veo nada. Miren. Miren. Acaban de ver eso. Se acaba de caer un bote. Se está moviendo esto. No veo nada. No hay nadie por acá. No hay nadie por acá. A la onda. Miren. Se movió esto. Recuerda que venía caminando por acá. Y no veo a nadie. Miren. 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 Miren cómo se mueve eso. Para que vean que no hay nadie aquí.
Objects can be seen moving and falling off on their own. Some viewers believe the movement resembles the behavior of a child. The way the trolley shifts, the way objects are disturbed, it doesn't seem violent, but curious, almost like something small, interacting with its surroundings without understanding the consequences. But what happened next made the situation even harder to dismiss. Samuel later reviewed the hospital's security camera footage, hoping to find a logical explanation. Instead, he captured something else. Watch. If you look closely, something appears to move toward one of the wards. Moments later, a door opens, like something entered the room. It appears small, so many believe the child's speculation might just be right. But until more footage emerges, and until someone finds a clear explanation, whatever Samuel captured that night remains unexplained. In the following videos, a group of explorers set out to investigate an abandoned house that had been sitting empty for years, its broken windows and rotting walls silently holding whatever history had been left behind. They moved cautiously from room to room, documenting everything, opening doors, checking closets, and shining their flashlights into corners where the darkness seemed unusually thick. But there was one particular room they couldn't access because the door was locked. They tried the handle repeatedly, pushing, pulling, even listening closely to hear if something was moving on the other side, but it wouldn't budge. Eventually, with no way in, they gave up and left cameras behind to monitor the house while they were gone, hoping to capture evidence of whatever might be inside. This is what the camera caught. An object inside the room suddenly falls over. What makes this moment disturbing is how it was positioned. It wasn't hanging off an edge or placed somewhere unstable. It appeared balanced and undisturbed for hours, and yet it fell without any visible force acting on it. It was as if something invisible had decided to move it. More than a year passed before another investigator named Meguro, along with his partner Kawasaki, decided to return to the same abandoned house. By then, the location had developed a reputation among explorers, many refusing to enter it at all. But Meguro wanted answers. They set up night vision cameras throughout the building and made the risky decision to stay overnight inside. But the night quickly turned into something neither of them expected. Watch.
화살 끄. 화살 끄. 화살 끄.
没有啥，没有啥。
화살 끄.
Meguro tries again and again, pushing harder each time, and soon starts getting an overwhelming sensation, one he later describes as being watched from the other side. And then there's the chair, a single chair that wasn't there earlier, but at the time, what was important was opening the door. After several tense moments, the door finally opened, and Meguro later describes the moment as something he will never forget. Watch.
화살 끄. 화살 끄.
People familiar with the building later came forward with disturbing claims. According to them, that particular room is believed to house an entity, one that doesn't simply haunt the space, but watches, waits, and searches for something far more disturbing. A vessel. Some believe entities tied to locations grow weaker over time unless they attach themselves to something living, something capable of carrying them beyond the place they're trapped. Meguro and Kawasaki later warned others to never enter that room again, and after seeing what happened that night, it's not hard to understand why. This next video shows Amanda Sanders, a woman who says the activity inside her home has been escalating in ways she can no longer ignore. At first, the strange things only happened occasionally, subtle enough that she could convince herself there was a logical explanation. But recently, everything changed, and the disturbances are no longer confined to the middle of the night. They're happening in broad daylight, while she's fully awake, fully aware, and unable to dismiss them. What makes this even more unsettling is her dogs. According to Amanda, her dogs have been behaving in ways she's never seen before. They refuse to enter certain rooms. They hide under the bed for hours. Sometimes, they stare into empty spaces and quietly whimper, as if reacting to something invisible standing right in front of them. Sensing something wasn't right, Amanda began recording more often, hoping to capture proof. And during one of those recordings, this happened. Watch.
Alright guys, it's me and Pops right now. It's starting to happen again. I wanted to catch it. My old man's at work. Nobody is in here. Like, what? Alright guys, I'm gonna show you. Let me see if I can get my damn. And there's no way out of my house. This is the only door. This door and my back door, which is back there. Fuck, I don't know how to get a flat, or, hold on. Guys, I'm just have to come in here and turn the light on. Okay. So I just want to find the damn light. Hold on, guys. prove no one is in here. Like, what the is going on? No one's in here, right? Shower. Open the shower and show you. Bathroom. No one's. Oh, shit. The door just slammed shut again. What was it, Tootsie? What is it, Toot Toot? Something slammed the door on you, buddy? Come here. Where you going? Okay. Anyway, this is a closet. Oh, I can't even open the door on that side. I'll get it open. Hold on. This is my closet. Please excuse me. Vern, are you fucking with that door? Oh my god. What the dude? I don't know. Nothing. Like, oh, let me go back here to this closet and show you. Ain't nobody in here. It's a bunch of bags. Like, there's nothing in here. Let me open this. What the fuck? No one here, guys. Just me and Pops. What the f? And the dogs, obviously. Hey, Daisy. What's going on, crazy? Woo!
In the middle of the video, a door suddenly slams shut with force. Moments like this have left her feeling exposed in her own home, unsure whether she's being watched, followed, or something worse. In paranormal cases, escalation during daylight hours is often considered more serious because it suggests whatever is present no longer needs darkness to operate. And then there's the dogs. Many believe animals don't hide unless they feel threatened. Their instinct is survival. If they're hiding under the bed, refusing to move, it could mean they're trying to escape something they can sense but can't fight. Amanda says she's now considering blessing the home, hoping it might calm whatever is inside or remove it completely. But opinions are divided. Some believe blessing a home can help cleanse negative energy and restore peace, especially if the presence is weak or recently attached. Others warn that attempts to cleanse a space without fully understanding what's there can sometimes provoke more activity, especially if whatever is present resists being removed. There's also the unsettling possibility that the presence isn't tied to the house at all, but to Amanda herself. Until she takes the next step and shares what happens after the blessing, this remains unsolved. This next video shows a disturbing series of unexplained events experienced by a man inside his own home. Events that didn't begin suddenly, but built up slowly over time until they became impossible to ignore. It started with small things, objects not being where he left them, faint knocking sounds coming from empty rooms, and moments where his dog would suddenly stop, stare at nothing, and quietly back away like it sensed something standing there. At first, he tried to ignore it, convincing himself it was just the house settling, or his imagination playing tricks on him. But that changed the day he caught this on camera. Watch.
This is camera recording. Huh. Oh, jeez. Dude.
The mirror that had been placed securely against the wall suddenly falls on its own, but things didn't stop there. Another time, he captured something even more direct. The door suddenly closes with force. If it wasn't wind and no one else was inside, then the question becomes unavoidable. What closed it? By this point, he was no longer brushing it off. He knew something wasn't right. Then one afternoon, shortly after arriving home, he heard loud banging noises coming from inside. Instead of ignoring it, He immediately set up his camera. Watch this.
Banging noises in here. So that's why I'm setting up the camera right now to find out, what the fuck it is. Max, shut up. Everybody here. That was up against the wall.
A shadow appears on the wall, and though he couldn't capture it on camera, the reaction of the dog is enough to know something or someone was definitely there. Still, nothing prepared him for what came next. One night while he was asleep, his phone somehow took selfies, not one, but multiple. Watch him out.
Didn't take the picture because it was taken from the end of my bed. One of them, at least. The other one was like next to me. But also, in those pictures, the first one, sorry. In the first one, there's like another face next to my wife's face. And I was thinking maybe it was like a reflection of my face, but how in the is there going to be a reflection of my face on the pillow? Then on the other one, the other picture, I think my eyes are open. I don't know. I zoomed in. It doesn't look like my eyes are open, but it looks like something's on my eyes. And my hand looks very long. Yeah.
Some believe this could be a camera glitch, a trick of lighting or motion distortion, but others believe something far more disturbing. There's a theory in paranormal cases that entities can manipulate electronics, especially cameras and phones, to capture their presence. Some believe they can even interact with people while they sleep, appearing close enough to be captured without being seen. And if that's true, it would mean whatever is inside his home isn't just moving objects. It's getting closer, until more footage is captured, and until he finds out what's truly behind these events, one terrifying question remains. Is this something attached to the house, or something attached to him? You decide. The following clip dates back to June 28, 2013, when a man was at home in Arlington, Virginia, during a powerful storm. With nothing else to do, he picked up his iPhone and began recording the storm from his apartment window, capturing 3 short clips simply to pass the time, with no expectation that anything unusual would come from it. Days later, while going through his phone, he considered deleting the videos, but before doing so, he decided to watch them one last time. And at first, nothing stood out. Everything seemed normal, just flashes of lightning and the outline of the storm outside. But after replaying one of the clips a few more times, something finally caught his attention. Something that hadn't been visible to him in the moment while he was recording. Watch. For a brief moment, the faint figure of what appears to be a girl, or possibly a woman, can be seen standing near the window. What makes this detail particularly unsettling is the context surrounding it, because there was no power in the apartment at the time, meaning no internal light source that could create reflections, and directly opposite the window is a solid wall, leaving very little room for the figure to be explained as a reflection from outside. He was also completely alone in the apartment when this was recorded, and more importantly, he did not see or sense anything unusual while filming, which raises the question of how something so visible on camera could go entirely unnoticed in real time. Some interpretations suggest that certain conditions, like storms, power outages, and sudden changes in light, can create the perfect environment for unusual visual anomalies, where shadows and reflections behave in ways that can be easily misinterpreted. However, others believe that moments like this, especially when something appears only on camera and not to the human eye, may point to something that exists outside normal perception, only becoming visible under very specific circumstances. Whatever was captured in that clip remains unexplained, and without further evidence or updates, this incident continues to linger as one of those recordings where something is clearly there, but what it actually is has yet to be determined. In this next video, a cafe that now serves customers every day was once an old hardware store, a place that already carried years of history before it was ever transformed. But what makes this location particularly unsettling isn't just its age, it's what reportedly happened there, because according to accounts tied to the previous owners, the original owner's son passed away inside that very building about 9 years ago, leaving behind a story that didn't end when the place changed hands. The new owners began noticing something strange not long after moving in, because every afternoon at exactly 3 p.m., long after the cafe had closed and everyone had left, they would hear distinct footsteps moving through the space, slow, steady, and consistent, as though someone was walking through the cafe during hours when it should have been completely empty. Curious and unsettled, they decided to set up a camera to see if anything could explain the sounds they had been hearing. This is what they found. If you look closely, something in the frame appears to move, subtle enough to miss at first, but clear enough on replay to suggest that whatever is moving is not part of the normal stillness of the room. In other recordings, they captured additional activity inside the cafe. Watch. In this clip, a chair moves on its own, with no one present in the store at the time, no visible cause, no disturbance in the environment that could explain the motion, which only deepens the unease surrounding what might be happening there. Moments like this begin to shift the narrative from coincidence to pattern, because when movement is repeated in an empty space, especially in a location tied to a past tragedy, it invites speculation that whatever once occupied that space may not have fully left. Now in this next video, a man named Troy begins documenting a series of disturbing events happening inside his home, and from the very beginning, there's a clear pattern to it all. Because whatever is present doesn't simply move things randomly. It almost feels like something is attempting to rearrange the space to its own preference, only for it to come off as chaotic and destructive, leaving rooms in disarray as though an unseen presence is constantly interfering with the natural order of the house. Drawers are left open, objects are shifted out of place, and furniture appears slightly repositioned between moments, not in a way that feels accidental, but in a way that suggests intention, as though something is actively interacting with the environment and reshaping it, even if imperfectly. Watch this.
It's getting more intense.
You can hear heavy footsteps, like someone is moving freely from one part of the house to another. The same activity has been reported in multiple areas of the house, including the third floor where his son usually plays, which only adds another layer of concern, because now it's not just about unexplained movement, it's about something potentially occupying spaces meant to feel safe. Watch.
It's happening on the third floor, too.
Again, the same stomping, the same scattered movement of objects, but this time accompanied by several orbs drifting through the frame. At this point, the pattern begins to feel less like coincidence, and some warn that repeated disturbances like this can escalate over time if whatever is behind it is not addressed. And that's where it starts to get more unsettling, because if this is something that's growing more active, then what Troy is experiencing now might only be the beginning of something far more intense. So if you've ever dealt with something like this, or have any idea what steps might actually help in a situation like this, share your thoughts. Because in cases like these, sometimes the difference between things getting better or worse comes down to what you do next, and whether or not you understand what you're truly dealing with. In this next video, two sisters are home alone, inside their bedroom, when their house alarm suddenly goes off.
I'm recording. Wait. Do you hear that? Can you check the security footage? Yeah. Oh my god.
The security app shows the front door wide open, as if someone has just walked in. Naturally, they assume it's a break-in, but when they replay the exact moment the door opens, there's no one there. To make things worse, a police siren can be heard outside around the same time, adding to the panic. But that was not all that happened.
What is it?
They hear their bedroom door open. Convinced someone is inside the house, they make a split-second decision to escape through the window. After the footage spread, many viewers blamed the wind, but the sisters posted another clip explaining why that theory doesn't hold.
Wondering that maybe the door, it was the wind, but clearly, as you can tell, you have to kind of force down to close it fully. And there's just so much space between, don't mind. There's kind of like a huge distance, so there's no way the wind could have gotten that.
After explaining the door situation, they showed what completely changed their perspective. A moment captured on camera that made them question everything they thought they knew about that day. Take a look. a small, shadowy figure dashes past the camera. It moves incredibly fast, too fast to clearly define. There are no visible features, no clear arms, legs, or face, just a dark mass that crosses the frame and disappears. And if you look closely, the motion camera seems to adjust, almost like it's tracking something moving freely through the house. The sisters say this is a new build, not an old property with some long-forgotten history. So the typical house history explanation wasn't even on their radar. But the sequence is what unsettles them most. The front door opening first, then the bedroom door, then the shadow figure appearing inside. They believe something forced its way in. And that raises an earlier question. If something unseen opened the front door, could it have also opened the bedroom door? Skeptics might argue camera glitches, motion blur, pressure differences in the house, or even a small animal moving quickly past the lens. Security cameras, especially in low light, can distort shapes and exaggerate speed. But the sequence of events, alarm, door opening, bedroom door moving, shadow figure, happening back to back is what unsettles most viewers. So what do you think? A chain of coincidences and technical quirks, or something that entered that house and moved through it freely? The following clip was captured during a paranormal investigation in San Antonio, Texas on December 11th, 2016, inside a location that investigators had already described as deeply unsettling long before this footage was recorded, with reports of cold spots forming without warning, faint whispers heard in empty rooms, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched that seemed to follow anyone who stepped too far inside, especially in the darker sections of the building where the air felt heavier and the silence never quite stayed silent. According to those familiar with the location, it wasn't uncommon for equipment to malfunction or spike unexpectedly, as though something unseen was interfering with the environment, and there had even been previous claims of shadowy figures moving just out of sight, never fully visible, but always close enough to be noticed. Watch.
Do you need help moving on?
Alright, so let's play this shit back.
Let's see if we got quiet.
Is there anyone here right now?
Can you give us a sign that you are here? Reach out and touch my shoulder. My right shoulder. Give my jacket a quick tug.
If anyone's here, could you please state your name?
Now we're just using my phone because the other recorder died.
Whoa, that was weird. I think. What? I think I panned over here and it looked like,
What appears in the footage is difficult to dismiss because a white mass suddenly darts from left to right with a speed that doesn't quite match anything physical in the space before it seems to shift direction and reach toward the investigator, a movement that feels almost reactive rather than random. The way it moves has led many to believe this isn't simply dust or camera interference, but a ghost, especially because of its shape, its direction, and the timing of its appearance. Moments like this tend to blur the line between explanation and speculation, because while there are always attempts to rationalize what's seen, the behavior of whatever appears in this clip doesn't settle easily into a clear or comfortable answer, leaving behind a moment that continues to raise more questions than it resolves. And for now, whatever was captured in that investigation remains a mystery. The following video was recorded by a lady and her friend Josh, who decided to experiment with a Ouija board and film the entire session. At first, nothing unusual happens as their fingers rest lightly on the planchette, asking questions into the quiet room, waiting for any kind of response. For nearly 20 minutes, everything seems still until this happens. Watch.
Blow out a candle if you're here. Right then.
Lol.
Maybe he's not here. Oh, we're assuming it's gender. Are you male
yeah.
or female?
Yeah. Are you male or female? Are you both?
Are you a male? What was that?
It's probably just the house creaking.
No. Oh my god. No.
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 Right. Close
No.
that door. Close that.
Oh my god.
Close that door.
Nah. I'm gone. No, I'm not.
Without warning, a door behind them slowly opens on its own. She quickly gets up, clearly shaken, and walks over to close it. But another door suddenly slams shut with force, louder, sharper, and impossible to ignore. Ouija boards have long been associated with attempts to contact spirits. Many believe they don't just allow communication, they act as invitations. Invitations for something unseen to step closer, to listen, and sometimes to follow. What makes situations like this especially concerning is one rule that experienced users always warn about. Never remove your fingers from the planchette without properly ending the session by saying goodbye. According to paranormal belief, saying goodbye isn't symbolic. It's a way of closing whatever was opened. Without it, the connection is believed to remain active, leaving whatever answered free to linger. And in this video, viewers noticed something disturbing. When the door first opened, both friends instinctively pulled their hands away from the board. There was no clear goodbye, no closure, just fear and distance. She later explained that after the recording ended, they did say goodbye and threw the board away, hoping that would end everything. But many believe once something responds, simply throwing the board away doesn't undo the invitation, because sometimes the board isn't what brings it in. It's the moment you asked it to come. In this next clip, two friends decide to explore the basement of Danvers State Hospital. They enter through the rear loading garage and slowly make their way down the long, dimly lit corridor toward the front of the building before turning back. The place is quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavy rather than empty. But while they were walking, something else may have been down there with them, and although their eyes didn't catch it in the moment, the camera did. Watch. you look closely, you can see what appears to be a figure walking past. Now, some viewers believe it could be a homeless person who simply didn't want to be noticed. But then there's the location. Danvers State Hospital has a long and unsettling history. Originally opened in the late 1800s as a psychiatric facility, it's been surrounded by rumors for decades, stories of harsh treatments, overcrowding, and patients who never left. Explorers have claimed to hear disembodied footsteps in empty corridors, whispers in the basement, and shadow figures moving between doorways long after the hospital shut down. So was this a person moving quietly in the dark? Or could it be something tied to the building's past, still walking the halls it once knew? I'll let you decide.